We are back. Are we back? It feels like we're back. Hello, welcome back. Episode 2. It is what it is. I'd like to start this pod by saying thank you to everybody who's liked, subscribed, even saw. I don't care if you even saw the whole thing, but if you tuned in and you saw the pod, thank you very much. It means a lot to me. And I would like to start this off by talking a little bit about something that I think has been very kind of true to me for a long time. And I think it would be better to see a little bit more of this in the world than it is positivity. I'm always have been, and hopefully always will be, an optimist. I like to believe in the best in people. It's hard sometimes. True, you're tested. You know, I get hangry like everybody else, hands up, it happens. But just generally speaking, like outlook on life, if you take a step back, for me personally, it's always been the default setting, if you will. I don't know why, I don't know how. Shout out to my parents, Gigi and Kareem, you know who you are. They raised me right, and I had a beautiful and blessed upbringing, and I think that definitely had a lot to do with my outlook on life. But I always like to say, your mentality dictates your reality. How you perceive things is everything. I mean, perception literally is everything, and it's incredible because I heard from like a psychological perspective. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Like if I wake up in the morning and I'm tired, bed feels warm, it's a shit day outside, and you're like, I don't want to go out today. You thinking of excuses. I got this to do, I got that to do. If it feels like a burden, it's gonna be a burden. But flip side, if you wake up and you're like, God bless, I'm seeing another day. I have my fingers, I have my toes, I got a brain in my head that works, I'm able to see, I have my senses. And you come from a place of gratitude, I think it fundamentally changes the way you experience this existence we call life. And it's easier said than done. It's like, for me, it comes very natural to me. I know there's other people in my life and people that I know that it's not as easy for. Sometimes it does require a little bit more effort, but there is something about moving in that frequency, if you will. The whole world seems to open up, and people feel that. Like, I don't want to be all woo-woo and talk about energy, but there is something about the energy that you exude, and people you feel it. It's almost like tangible. I think think about your own life. There's certain people that you remember and you're like, oh, this person's fun, they're exciting. There's other people who walk into a room and they kind of suck the energy out of it. And there's a beautiful quote, and forgive me, I believe it's Maya Angelou, but she was saying, people don't really remember what you said, what you did. They remember how you made them feel. Because your feelings, that's something that people don't forget. And if you're able to leave people with a positive impression on you as a person, your personality, and you make them feel good, I promise you they will never forget it. And it takes practice, like anything else in life. Repetitions help, and kind of practicing some mindfulness, staying away from your phone, staying away from comparison. A very good friend of mine told me, comparison's the thief of joy. It's a quote that I've always loved my whole life, and it's true. If you're looking at other people's lives, you're putting your time, energy, and effort into something that really has nothing beneficial to do with you. If anything, it's taking away from your time that could be better spent elsewhere. That's how I feel about it, and that's that. Positive, smile, laugh, life's short, you know what I mean? Music, watch movies, do things that make you happy, pursue your passions. That's one of the things as I mentioned in the first episode, I'm a Muslim, and we're currently practicing Ramadan, and it's actually going to be coming up here in about a week. But there's a lot that I've gained personally from this month, and I'm always kind of a reflective person. I like thinking of myself and taking that inventory, so to speak, of what have I been doing good, what could be better, things that I can change. And one of the things that kind of occurred to me over the past 2.5 weeks is pursuing passions and doing things ultimately that make you happy. We don't know when our time is up. Don't want to be morbid, don't want to dwell on mortality, but there is a reason why certain people say it is helpful to think about your mortality, because if you were to think about the fact that one day you won't be here anymore, who knows when that time will be? Hopefully we all live long, beautiful, healthy lives. But whenever, that day does end, it's like, it's finite. And like everything in life, scarcity, the law of demand, knowing that it ends makes it valuable. If we lived forever, people would be so wasteful with their lives, it would be ridiculous. Knowing that eventually all of our times will come, Father time spares no man, and it's like, all right, if that's the case, why not spend your life doing the things that truly make you happy? And this is something I fully advocate: working hard and pursuing, a good career. Super important. You get fulfillment from that, you get friends from that. There's a lot that you get into it, and just like the act of doing something and doing it well, it's great. But if it's to sacrifice your personal passions as a result of pursuing that career goal, whatever that may be, see, that's the thing that I was thinking about. And, I love the job that I have. And for a long time prior to this position, and when I was younger, when I first got out of college, I was so focused on my career and making sure I had a good foundation and I was doing what needed to be done from a mature adult perspective, what the expectations of the world puts on you, that I didn't do as many of the things that made me happy. And over the past 2 weeks, I've been thinking a lot about the things that do make me happy. And the idea being, don't sacrifice your passions for anything or anybody. Because one day it'll end, and you're going to wish you spent more time with your friends, more time with your family. You're going to wish that you vacationed a little bit more. And in my case, I love to read. I love to write. I love to paint. I love playing soccer. It's probably my favorite thing in the entire world. And I know personally that if I do those things, I will, on the whole, be a happier person. And when you really indulge in that, you recognize that fact and you kind of value it accordingly, that's where the magic happens. That's when you're really working and moving from like an inspirational place. And so what I would recommend, suggest, I don't even know the right word to say, but what I would say to you, whoever's watching this, wherever you may be, however you're feeling, whatever you do, and whatever makes you happy, don't lose that for anybody. Like, keep that close. Because that ultimately, it's one of the things, there's many things that define a person, but that is such an important part of life. The joie de vie, if you want to say, but it's incredibly important, should be prioritized as such. And to that point, passions are great, and you grow in certain ways, but I also wanted to touch on consistency. Because there's a quote that I always loved, and it is, your direction is significantly more important than your speed. The idea being, you could be going in a million different directions. Life, there's so many distractions, and there's so many beautiful things that are offered in this country, the United States. Like, you could do a million things. But if you're going in a million different directions and you're taking 5 steps here, 6 steps there, 12 steps there, you're not really building anything. You may learn stuff along the way, which is incredibly valuable. But as far as like a focused, single-minded pursuit, and anybody who reaches the top of what they do, regardless of what that is disciplined and is consistent. Those two, without a shadow of a doubt, ask them. If you have people in your life who high achievers or people you respect who do something very well, you ask them, they'll tell you. Discipline, consistency. Those two things, I've always said, are like the most important things in life, and the development of a talent, a skill, an ability, whatever it may be. You gotta be consistent. A good example of this, I'm more of a Messi guy myself, but Cristiano Ronaldo. He's talking about it, and everybody who sees Cristiano Ronaldo thinks about Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, this dude he's built. He looks like a statue, like a sculpture. The dude's just like very, very in shape, very fit. He's been playing at the top level of professional football and banging in an incredible amount of goals for the past 15 plus years. That's not an accident. I mean, I watched a video when he was talking about it. He's like, he goes to the gym every day. The days you want to, the days you don't want to. Don't even give yourself a choice. He just goes. And that consistency compounds over time, and it leads you to be in a place far beyond your peers. Easier said than done. But even if it's something over nothing, like for me, I'm no Cristiano Ronaldo, but when it comes to like physical activity in the gym, I always try to tell myself, hey man, go in there, even if you're not feeling good, do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Something is always better than nothing, and allowing yourself to start to develop that consistency, like anything else in life, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. To allow yourself to maintain that road and to push will allow you, whatever it is, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, particular skills that you're looking to enhance. If you are consistent in those pursuits, that is what leads to true growth and true progress. An example in my life, my family's from Egypt. Both of my parents were born and raised in Alexandria. I was born here in the United States. I would go to Egypt fairly often as a child. And as I grew up, obviously there was the Arab Spring Revolution, happened around 2011, 2012. We stopped going for a little bit. Now we try to go back there every other year if we can. And my Arabic is something that I've been self-conscious of in the past because it was never as good as I wanted it to be. I understand more than I speak, but I really don't speak all that much. And I mean, honestly, if I'm just being transparent, I mean, I was like kind of ashamed about it. I was angry at myself for the level I was at and not having started sooner or tried to contribute to this. I took classes in college, but it was, not the dialect I was looking for. Regardless, I'm getting off track. Consistency is important, and more recently, this week actually, I started taking Arabic lessons again. And the first lesson I took destroyed my ego. It took my ego, it choked it out, and it just kicked it while it was down. I thought I knew something, and your ego is like how you view yourself, right? And I thought I had these perceptions, this is where I am when it comes to this thing. And after that first lesson, it was very apparent to me that could not be further from the case, that wasn't the reality of the situation, and I was much further off than I would have liked to be and where I genuinely thought I was. And I think there's two avenues to kind of go down when you're faced with that kind of disappointment. One, the ego wins. You're like, it hurts me so much. It's not even worth pursuing. I thought I was better than this. Forget it. Let it go. Do something else. Or two, which is, thank God, the path that I took, where it's like, all right, listen, man. You thought you were here. You're like 50 steps back. Doesn't feel good. Never feels good. But that's the case. All right, this is going to have to be something we work on. Strip it all down, rebuild the foundation, move forward accordingly. And as a result, I've been taking, and I'm going to be committed to taking, and I want you guys to hold me accountable as well as the people in my life, but 2 lessons a week for the foreseeable future. Because that is the consistency that enables success, and doing that, and it's not only the lessons that I'm having with this teacher, who's very kind, shout out to Mahmoud, but also doing things outside of the class. If you really care about something, you're willing to put in that extra time. Studying the alphabet, learning different things, going over the lessons that we've already had. That is the kind of consistency that is required to develop any new skill. And it's easy to be upset and humbled in the beginning, but the quote that springs to mind and the thing that I love about it, that I think more people would do well to hear, is every master was once an amateur. Every expert was once a beginner in anything. And in the modern age, the beautiful thing about living in the age of information, as they call it, is you can learn anything you want to. The information's out there. It's available. If you're disciplined, consistent with what you want to do, and you have that goal, as we were mentioning in the beginning of this, there is literally no stopping you. You can do whatever you want, which is daunting, and it's like analysis paralysis. Like, there's so many things you can do that can be kind of overwhelming and scary, and like you don't even know. But for me, knowing where my family comes from, knowing how much I want to know this thing, despite the difficulty it appears on the surface, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You gotta try. And the hardest thing to do, whether it's that, starting this podcast, starting painting, writing, doing any of these things, the first step's always the hardest. But once you do it, you start to get some momentum. And that's when things happen. If you put yourself out in the world, and whatever you do out into the world, you'd be surprised with good energy, maintain that positive outlook, you'd be surprised what could happen. Really good things happen. And you just gotta take the risk. You gotta sometimes, my little cousin used to say this, you gotta risk it for the biscuit. And it's true. So that is a little bit of what I wanted to talk about today. As you can see, I'm kind of adjusting the production and just trying to see how this podcast develops in time. I view this as like an iterative process. It is, it's not going to be one thing. It's not going to be static. It's going to be quite dynamic, and it's going to evolve over time. If there's, anything that you think would be beneficial, I'm all ears. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Always like to hear what the people are saying. And before I let you go, I did want to talk about one more thing. It's my birthday next week. This is going to be coming out before then, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's interesting. Just thinking about time, thinking about life. Like I mentioned, I'm a reflective person, and I always think like birthdays are a really good time to just like review what's been going on. And I'm 25 now. I'm going to be turning 26. March 19th, 2000 is the birthday. And what I wanted to say about it, it's a gift to see a year, 1 year, let alone 26, you know what I mean? And I think there's something about understanding that, appreciating that, and telling the people in your life, because I've had a lot of people that helped me be the man I am today and contributed to my journey. And I think it's very important to tell people that you care, that you love them, give them a hug, squeeze them tight, because there's no limit on the love you could put out into the world. The only limit there is the one you put on yourself. And I know we're all kind of shaped by experience, nature, and nurture, and maybe people didn't tell you that a lot growing up, or you feel weird about the word itself, but and I did too. I mean, growing up, I wouldn't say it as much as maybe I should have, could have, whatever. But there is something beautiful, and I've been doing it more often. I've been trying to practice what I preach, but tell people you love them. You know what I mean? You never know what could happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. To give people that, to give people their flowers while they can still smell them, is an incredibly important thing. Because you don't know what anybody else has going on in their life. We're all very self-centered and focused on me. But to tell people, hey man, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're good. Or, hey, I love you. I love what you've done for me. I appreciate the lessons you taught me in the past. Your insights at this moment changed my life. I'm struggling to think of a drawback of doing that. And I think if there was more energy like that in the world, it would be a much better place. And I don't know what's stopping you, and I'm not going to speculate. I know what was stopping me for a long time was the perception of what love means, and it's heavy, and you're like, all right, dude, relax kind of thing. But it's also at the same time, love is the answer. As corny as that may sound, I think it's very, very true. And living your life out of love and acting out of love is never a bad thing. And in my 25 years, I think I've loved a lot. But in my next 25, I really want to love a lot more. So I think that's a good spot to leave it. I will drop it off, but I appreciate you guys listening. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you in 26.